So let me ask you a question. Now, have you ever noticed, like when looking out for a workout plan or a meal plan or something like that, that there are an unlimited amount of people who are advertising their special way of doing things, but there are so many people who are looking for some kind of solution that lasts longer than like a 6 week plan? So the reason why I'm aware of this is mainly because when I started this journey, I wanted to do that too. I didn't want to be a fitness influencer. I wanted to like actually help people. And once I started going down this path, I noticed that there are a lot of things that didn't help people out a lot. The things are the plans that they give you, they come off of an app. And I'm not going to go into really too much detail about this. They come off in the app, and then you just pretty much just pick what you want and you send them to your clients. Now, that's where I said pause. And I said that this is actually what I wanted to do. So I stopped the program and I struggled to like make my own way and try to help people my own way. And this is, kind of like the path that I'm doing now. So what I've done is I've started from the ground up, and I'm just going to do, and I realized that this is not a plan. And that's why I always say that it's not a plan, it's a lifestyle. Now, if you stick to the end, like all these videos that I make for you, they're really things that you can apply to your life like immediately. And this is going to be no different. So this particular thing is going to be a lifestyle change. This is not a quick fix. These things are things that I've changed in my life personally, which have given me the freedom that you see now. They've given me a healthy body, a healthy mind, and I feel better than I've ever felt in my life. So the thing is, when I started on this journey, I started off at 280 pounds. I was extremely heavy, overweight, but I was happy. But the thing was, my body just gave me signals that I was doing something wrong and something needed to change. So I started from the ground up and I created my own method of doing things. Now, the thing that I like to do is, some people may call it lazy, I call it efficient. And all these things that I've done are absolutely free. Now, I like to eliminate all the fluff when it comes to this kind of stuff, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to help as many people as possible not only lose weight, but keep the weight off. So let's be honest. Anybody can lose weight. That's what all these plans are for. You can lose weight by extreme dieting, and you can lose weight by all these long workouts. But let's face it, who has time to diet like that? Who wants to live like that? The last diet I was on was keto, and I didn't enjoy the food. I enjoyed it for the benefits that it gave me, but I couldn't live my life like that. And the same thing for workout plans. The only thing that I knew was the workout plans that I had when I was when I was in football and being an athlete. But the thing about it is, I'm not an athlete anymore. I'm 20 years past that. And I don't have time to eat crazy food because I actually enjoy eating food. So the things that I've done is I've made this as easy as possible to not only make this a cost-free method. You don't have to spend a penny, and you can even start this kind of stuff today. Now, if you follow me all the way to the end of the video, you'll get the complete picture of what I'm actually trying to tell you. So after I turned about 35 or so, like I started to realize that I had a lot of bad habits and a lot of things needed to change. And my primary goal was to just lose the weight. For the first time in my life, I wanted a six pack. I've never had one in my life. I've always been up and down in weight, and I've always been strong, but I've never actually been, looking the way that I do today. And I've cracked the code. So what I mean by cracking the code is I work a 9-to-5 job. I sit down pretty much all day, but I managed to keep my body looking like this. I feel amazing. I have lots of energy, and I want to help as many people as possible feel this way too. And there are very simple things that you can start doing today that can help you get that way. So these are actually my non-negotiables. And what I'm trying to tell you is that this is not something that you have to do. Think of this as a blueprint, something that you can lay over your life, and you can adjust it any way that you want to, but the results are going to be the same. All right, so let's get into it. So the first thing that I identified that needed to change was my alcohol consumption. So alcohol consumption is a very prevalent part of most of our lives, mainly because everything social typically involves alcohol. Now, this was one of the harder things that I had to eliminate. Mainly, and I just want to say I didn't eliminate it completely. There are some times where I do have a drink every now and then. I'm not going to lie to you, like I'm not perfect. But what I did, there was a nice progression to me just slowing down on it. So I was pretty big on IPAs. I love IPAs. I love that hoppy taste. But after a while, like when I started reaching like around like 38 or 39, I started to notice that it started making my stomach hurt a lot. So instead of just like completely quitting, and because I like to still go out in social settings, the thing that I did was I went down to a light beer. So I chose a light beer, and I did that for about 6 months, and that stopped working too. So I said maybe it's just beer. So I switched to seltzers. And a lot of people don't really like seltzers, and they look at you funny, a big dude just drinking a seltzer. And people like to make fun of you, but I'm kind of over that. You can't really talk to me about me because, yeah, I don't really know you. But, you take your jokes and everything, but seltzers, they're lighter on the stomach, but at the same time, it's still alcohol. So my non-negotiable is just not consuming as much alcohol. Now, you can gauge this as high or as low as you want to. Mine is like, I don't drink it every weekend. I don't have a frequency that I do it. And eliminating more alcohol out of your diet is going to do so many things for you. So pretty much you have your gut health. So that, and like when you wake up and your stomach hurts the next day and you got the BGs, that's your gut health. So eliminating alcohol like out of your weekly diet can do amazing things for you. Not only does it not keep you in the bathroom, it helps you with your focus. It just helps you with your clarity. So many different things that it helps with. So just minimizing the amount of alcohol that you have, especially during the week. So do me a favor, try this out. Now, if you are a every other day drinker or something like that, just go like 5 days and see the difference in how you feel. And if you're a weekend warrior, just stop one weekend, because the things are going to be there. The football games are going to be there, and even when they're not, these things are temporary. But what's more important is your actual health and how you feel day to day. So the first thing that I would recommend is just cutting down on the alcohol as much as you can. And this in itself is going to help you start dropping weight, because that puffy feel that you have when you wake up the next day, your joints are swollen, like all that stuff goes away in a matter of days when you start cutting down on alcohol. All right, now the next thing that I started doing was I stopped staying up so late at night. Now, this may not apply to you if you have a job that keeps you up at night, and there are exceptions to this. Now, these are all the things that I'm telling you today are things that you can kind of play with a little bit. Now, the late nights, if you hang out with your family and do stuff like that, that's okay, because this is not something that is supposed to be restrictive. This is supposed to balance around your life. So the late nights, what I mean by my late nights is like staying up watching, so many hours of football, especially after like maybe on Sunday you do, and then you do it on Monday, watching the highlights of games that you watched the previous day. That don't make no sense at all. So what I'd say is just eliminate the things that you don't necessarily need. Nobody needs to watch that much football. And if you do miss some football, what's going to happen? Nothing. Somebody's going to say, why didn't you watch the game? And you're going to say, I got some sleep instead. I've had all these uncomfortable conversations with coworkers and colleagues, and at the end of the day, it just doesn't matter. Your sleep matters because your performance the next day matters the most. So what I would say is make exceptions for your family. If you're grinding, if you got your side hustle at night, take care of that stuff. I understand that. But what I'm saying is the elimination of all the things like watching games and drinking with your friends and playing video games. I love playing video games, but I cut that stuff back too. It's all about what you want to get out of life. So the more that you can eliminate this stuff or manage it, the faster these results come. And the getting of sleep, it just helps you the next day. So I'd recommend just play with that too. All this stuff, it really depends on you and how fast you want to lose weight and change your life. Now, the next thing is committing to moving every day. Now, we pretty much live a sedentary lifestyle. Well, at least I know I do. As far as like my job goes, I sit down all day, 8 hours a day. And the thing that I've made a commitment to is moving when I can. So first thing in the morning, as you know, that I go outside and I do my walks, and I also stretch in the mornings. Now, that can be just what you do, just stretch in the mornings, but you have to move your body. You can't just get up and go sit down, then get up and go sit down somewhere else. Like that is typically what our problem is. And then on top of that, most of us don't exercise because we're too tired after work. Now, I'm not saying that you have to work out an hour and a half because that's pretty unrealistic for most people, especially when you get on up there in age like 35 and up. And I can tell you that I'd like to do more, and I find every little window that I can in order to fit in some movement. Sometimes my workouts last 17 minutes, sometimes they last 32 minutes. Sometimes I don't even count, but I know they last a little bit longer than 30 minutes. But the thing is, I make a commitment to do some type of movement every single day. It doesn't have to be a full-blown workout. Move your body. That's what it's meant for. Sitting down is the exact opposite of what we're meant for. So just make a commitment to do some kind of movement every day, and you will notice the difference if you continue to do it consistently. Now, the next thing is going to be about your diet. So this was pretty much my biggest problem, is controlling my eating. Now, the thing is, I don't restrict anything. Like I don't cut out anything. I eat everything that I want to whenever I want to. But the thing is, I just don't eat all the bad stuff all the time. Now, this is one thing that a lot of people like to make you think that you just have to cut out all your favorite foods. You don't have to cut out any of them, to be honest with you. But the way that you control this, and the way that I controlled it, was intermittent fasting. Now, I'll tell you, like when I start new things, I like to go head first, and then I'll just, I'll take the bumps and bruises on the way down, and I'll figure it out, and I'll get back up, and I'll do it over again. And intermittent fasting was no different. So the method that I followed was the 16-8. So you have 16 hours of no eating, and you have an 8-hour window to fit in all your calories. And at the beginning, I thought this was just like, just wait, and then you just smash in all these calories, and like, why am I not losing weight? Why am I not losing enough weight? So you still have to restrict what you eat. You have to kind of determine like what your body weight is and what you want to get to. And that's how you have to base your calories off of it. I'm going to make a whole new video about intermittent fasting, but the way that I started off was I did it 5 days a week. And I'll tell you, it is the most effective way, or the most effective way I found to lose weight without actually having to do much adjusting to what you eat. So I lost so much weight that I ended up getting like all this extra skin around my waist and stuff because I was losing it so fast. But what I did was I dirty bulked, as some people like to call it, and gained the weight back to try to do it all over again. And the method that I've come up with is like kind of like a hybrid of that, and I'll explain that to you a little bit later. But if you want to lose a lot of weight in a little bit of time, or a decent amount of time, intermittent fasting is gonna be one of your best ways to do it. And there are rules that you have to do, like involved in that, but I'll get into more detail on that later. But that's as far as like your meals go and your food consumption goes, that's gonna be probably the number one way to do that. And the last thing is the most important. So a lot of people think of it in a very different way, but this is the linchpin of all of it. So that is a commitment to self-care. And what self-care is just taking time out for you. Now, think about this scenario. Think about how we all are grinding and we're trying to make extra money with side hustles, and all this stuff pretty much consumes most of your time. And we think that it's selfish to take out time for ourselves, mainly because we're thinking about our family. But if you think about it this way, let's flip your perspective a little bit. Taking out time for you is the best for you and your family. Mainly because if you're all these side hustles and grinds and you're trying to build a business and do all these things, if you're doing all this and it's consuming your energy, where's the time for you come from? So if you don't have any time for yourself, you're just slowly grinding yourself into like a fine powder. And at some point in time, you're gonna break. And if you break, what happens to all this momentum that you gain? It's gonna all come crashing down because not your parents, your family is gonna be the one that has to pick up the pieces and help you recover. And not only is that gonna take away from your side hustle, that's gonna take away from the whole point you're doing it anyway, your finances. So self-care is the most important, because without you, there is no side hustle, there is no business, there is nothing. So self-care, just take time for yourself. 30 minutes is probably enough. 30 minutes to write down your goals. 30 minutes to just clear your head and do nothing. 30 minutes to be selfish. 30 minutes, because let's face it, as men, we want to take as best care of our family as possible. And the last thing that we want to do is, take time for ourselves. It seems selfish, but it's actually selfless. It's something that's going to benefit you and your whole family at the end of it. So these are the 5 things that I have created in my life to be non-negotiables. Now, these are things that you can lay over your life as a blueprint, but they're definitely things that you can start with. They're all absolutely free and you can start with today. Just play around with them. That's the whole thing. And I'm going to get into more of why that these are like some of the pivotal things that you have to do in your life. They're very uncomfortable in the beginning, but I'm going to give you a secret. The more you do it, the more you're going to see that your body changes. They're going to be very gradual changes, but this is what we want. We don't want extreme changes because that's what makes you go back to getting you comfortable and thinking that you got it under control. This is something that you're going to go to and never have to turn back on. This is a lifestyle. We don't want something that's going to be a quick fix anymore. We want something that's going to last a lifetime. Now, if you think about it, all of these things have to do with your health and how you operate. And if they're like, if you're just looking at me sideways, you say, I'm not doing that stuff. Well, that's the reason why we have all these problems. These were things that I had to address one thing at a time. But over time, your body's going to say, I like that. And then the next thing you're going to say is, okay, now I'm doing the bare minimum and I'm still losing weight. What happens when I do more? And this is when the fun part starts, because it keeps going and going and going to your limitations, to your expectations. All these things can be fluctuated and balanced out at the same time. The more you lean into them, the better you're going to feel. And I'm going to get into a lot more of this stuff in later videos, but this is essentially the blueprint to your new life. You have to start creating non-negotiables and stop sacrificing your life for temporary pleasures. And that's all I have for you today. I hope you guys have an amazing Wednesday. Talk to you later. Peace.